Like to call to order the May 6, 2021 Board of Adjustment meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Kays.
Here.
Brink.
Here.
Aletsky.
Present.
Dargis Johnson.
Here.
Culhane.
Here.
And Hanson, Spire, Dolly, and Ford are absent. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 22nd meeting. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote.
Do we need a roll call vote anymore then? Because we have 4 members in the chambers? Or can we, and then Liam is the only one online.
Yeah, that's correct. You don't have to have a roll call if there's a quorum in the room. But there's only 4 in the room.
Yeah,
4 or
so
5?
no, yeah, so we don't have a quorum in the room. So for Board of Adjustment, we'll have to do the roll call vote, and then for Plan Commission, though, we could do.
Correct.
Okay, no, that sounds good. I have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. Could I get a roll call vote?
Yes. Kays.
Yes.
Brink.
Yes.
Aletsky.
Yes.
Dargis Johnson.
Yes.
Culhane.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda is our regular agenda. I believe 4A is being striked off the agenda.
Yes.
Per
That has been
request of the
withdrawn.
applicant. So then moving on to 4B is board consideration for a conditional use request for a bar or tavern in the C3 Highway Commercial District. Brandy, would you take over for us?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Let me pull up the GIS here. So we're looking at 700 9th Avenue Southeast for the request of a bar or tavern on this property. You'll be familiar with it that it was the previous Shopco location, and it is zoned C3 Highway Commercial, and there is sufficient parking, and so they are asking for the bar tavern conditional use. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you for that introduction. This conditional use is for the whole property, is that correct? That's how it normally is, right?
Correct.
I will open up the public hearing if there's anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak on behalf of this item. Please feel free to approach the microphone and state your name or join us online.
Just pull up a seat.
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Hi, Brian Brandrett here from Crossings Plaza. We twice before we got your temporary 2-week license or the 15-day license, we just basically, that was kind of a trial and error deal. We liked the way things went, so we want to move forward and get our own license and attach it to the property.
And that was a special event license that City Council grants, not Board of Adjustment.
Are you just going for the beer and wine license?
No, we'll be going for a full liquor license.
Full liquor. Okay. Are you going to be serving food also?
Yes, some.
Brian, are you still looking at doing music type events? Or are you still having the idea of subdividing it into other portions? I don't remember one time we had talked that you were looking at doing different things. Is it going to be more of an event type based center?
We definitely will be subdividing, and I've already started that. On the north side, we do have one lease signed on the 212 side, and are building other units as we speak here. So that will be happening. We're in the south third of the building.
South third.
Yep.
So then being on the south side, you'll enter in from the west door that way?
Yes, the original entrance is where we'll enter
Oh,
our
okay.
facility. Yep.
Good.
And I believe we have right at 380 parking spots. We have access from 6 different approaches onto the property, so it works pretty good.
Brandy, did we hear anything from any of the adjacent landowners?
Just from a couple, and it was more so that they called with they just had questions, but they were not opposed to the granting of the conditional use.
Is this a bar that will be open all the time or just special events, Brian?
We've never talked about doing a full-time venue there. I mean, it's kind of wide open as to where this thing could go because the 3 events we've had kind of went over really well. So we don't even know quite what this thing's capable of, but I don't see that happening. That's not something I'm wanting to do.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for the applicant from the board members? If not, I would like to offer the stand to anyone else who would like to speak on behalf of this item, if there is anyone.
Thanks.
Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion and a second for discussion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion from the board? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Colhane,
Yes.
Dargis Johnson,
Yes.
Oletsky,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4C on the agenda is board consideration of a variance request to allow 14.5-foot front yard setback. Brandy, would you take over, please?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. And let me just get it pulled up. I did not get a chance to bookmark it. So then you guys can see it, its location. We do have a vicinity map in the packet, but GIS is just more interactive. Okay, so this property here located at 509 8th Street Northwest, it is zoned R2A, which is single family attached residential district. And if I zoom out further, just for proximity wise, Compesca Boulevard is here, and then Highway 20 is over here. Okay. So what the applicant is asking for, and if you guys read the agenda packet, you probably were a little confused, so I created some illustrations that might help us through the discussion. So basically today there is a 5.5 by 20 uncovered deck on the residence. And right now they have a 22-foot front yard setback. In the R2A, you typically have to have 25, but because these other 2 properties exist, they actually, we use inline provision that's allowed through ordinance that you would take the average of the existing structures. So the house itself could have a 19-foot front yard setback. Today they have 22, and then they have a 5.5-foot deck or porch on the front. And that is allowed to encroach in the front yard because it's uncovered, and there's a section in ordinance that allows for permissible encroachments. So what they're asking for is they want to redo the deck that is there today, and then they want to expand it by 2 feet into the front yard and then cover the entire thing. So that would create, a deck is looked at as, especially when it's covered, it is looked at as the same as the primary structure. They have the same setbacks. So that would create a 14.5 front yard setback, and that is ultimately what they're asking for the variance for. is for a 14.5 foot front yard setback versus the 19 feet. And let me grab my illustrations.
As you're grabbing those, right now you said the neighbors are all, how close are the neighbors to their setbacks too?
So the neighbor to the north is, I want to say 22. And then the neighbor to the south is 16. And I think, is that provided? No, we took that out. We went through a couple of renditions of the staff report. So I'll just take a quick measure here. And it is tough with GIS too, because there could be overhangs and whatnot. So the neighbor to the north is 21. The neighbor to the south is about 16. Yep.
So that's how you came up with the 19 feet.
Yep. Okay, so this is section elevation here as if we're looking at the house from the side. You can see this is with the 22-foot front yard setback, and that is from the structure, not the porch or the deck itself, because like I said, that can be an allowable encroachment in the front yard as long as it's not covered. So they have a 5.5 wide deck or porch uncovered. So then this is what they're asking for would be a 7.5 foot wide covered deck, which then, because you have an actual support structure, then that is where it has the same setbacks as the primary structure. If it would be uncovered, it would be allowed.
So if they were just to have the primary support structures without a roof, it would be allowed.
Potentially. That's coming next.
I'm sorry.
So then, yeah, you can see here, then that would make for a 14.5 front yard setback when 19 is required. And then, so this is what they could do. And actually, I wish that I would have included a support structure here. So they could expand and have a covered porch, 3 foot, a 3 foot covered porch, but then the additional 4.5 would have to be uncovered.
And that would meet the ordinance. Mm-hmm. Going back to the properties north and the south, are those decks that are encroached, or the actual the base of the wall structure is the 22 feet?
Base of the wall.
So theoretically, the base of the wall could be 16 feet, or 19 feet is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, and currently, again, the number is
22.
They are 20, so they could technically build 3 feet of their house and be in line with them, and it could be completely like a 3 foot porch.
Yeah.
Enclosed porch.
That's why with my illustration there, I wish that I would have put I should have put a beam here or something, a post, because then that could be covered. But then you can actually have a 3 foot overhang as well, as long as there's not a structural support. So they could even extend, have a post here and even extend this 3 feet as well. So you're getting a lot of it would be covered. So there are some options. The thing about, a covered porch and what they were hoping to do, it looks very nice. Or what they're asking to do, I should say, is something like that. So the thing, though, is that we can't allow that, because then it really could become, you could put walls there, and then, it encroaches in the setbacks, and we have setbacks for a reason, to keep consistency there.
Go back to the aerial photography.
Okay.
Theoretically, I'm going to guess that most of the traffic that drives on the road in front of them is local traffic. Most people take the boulevard as far as the through traffic in that area. I would almost consider this to be, there is something unique about this property, because you have a secondary road right next to the other one.
Yeah.
And this is more or less of a private drive that accesses those 4 properties. So, I could see some reasoning for an encroachment due to the uniqueness of that lot.
And maybe you would want to open up the public hearing, maybe
sorry.
the applicants could, you know, be a part of the discussion then.
Absolutely. I will do that. I'll open up the public hearing. I was just letting you get through all of your information first, but yeah, I will open the public hearing. Anyone who is here to speak in favor of or against this item, please approach the microphone or join us online.
There was one other thing that I just thought about too is I think that the road right away is a little bit wider here. So then that would also give a little bit of extra room to where the edge of the porch in theory would be from the street. But just wanted to point that out.
And it's a 70-foot right of way, and so then 66 is typical for a local street, and so then it would give an additional 2 feet per se. But yeah, also that's just a good point about it being, it's acting as a private drive of having Kapeska Boulevard there.
Could the applicants come forward? I do have a question.
So you can see here too that that is the house of the neighbors to the north. It's not a deck.
Hi, ma'am. Quick question. If the board was to entertain the variance and grant it to do what you want to do as far as covering the deck portion of the approach with a condition that you would never be able to enclose that, would that be objectionable to you, or would you be okay with that?
I would have no intentions of enclosing it, so,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It'll really look nice.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Are there any other questions for the applicant while she's at the podium? And would you mind stating your name for the record too, please?
Tanya Redlin.
Thank you. Hearing no other questions, is there anyone else that wishes to speak on behalf of this item?
The neighbors were all fine with this, right, Tanya?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And just for full disclosure too, that Wanda and Ronald Henricks are the owners, so they would sign off on the applicant, their relations. So that they will sign off on the building permit itself, but they signed off on this. So just if anyone was confused why the names didn't match.
Hearing no other public comments, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion and a second for discussion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the variance with the condition that the proposed addition, deck addition with the cover, with the canopy or the cover, that cannot be enclosed, fully enclosed in the future unless they come back before the Board of Adjustment.
We have a motion with a condition. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Discussion on the motion. I'm just making the motion and supporting the motion based upon the uniqueness of this lot, having an extraordinary wide right-of-way encroaching upon the lot, as well as a road that is not really what I would call a functional street from the perspective that people drive on, that they use Kapeska Boulevard, and this is more of a private drive that accesses this property. And I think just the amount of traffic, the encroachment is not going to bother the traffic.
Thank you. And I also think, the property right next to it has 16 feet. So, I know we use the average, but the one that's closest to it is closer than the one that's separated by an alley. So I think that's even more reason that we should use a number closer to what's to the south.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Case,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Aletsky,
Yes.
Dargis Johnson,
Yes.
Kohane.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5 on the agenda is open public comment. Did we receive any?
No.
No, we did not. Okay. Item 6 on the agenda is new business. I do believe we have an item of new business, a marijuana ordinance discussion. Brandy, could you?
For a planning commission discussion as opposed to a board of
Yeah.
adjustment?
Okay. I had it written on this one. That's quite all right. Do we have any new business then?
No.
Okay. Any old business?
Nope.
All right. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Colhane.
Yes.
Douglas Johnson.
Yes.
Oletsky.
Yes.
Brink.
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Give us a few minutes to switch over, and then we'll start the plan commission meeting.